thinking about this, and I was like, I was thinking about this, and I was like, I gotta tell him how I left. And the reason being is because I will tell you, from the time I signed up with job killing, I always envisioned that Lord sort of walking in there with a big old whatever and being like, screw you guys, I'm out. But quite the opposite was true. Honestly, a friend of mine said, well, you know what? They don't have what you have. And so it actually got me thinking more of in terms of like compassion. And I was like, yeah, they don't understand like this side of things. I'm gonna walk out of that job and they're gonna continue to grind it out and be a robot for a corporate office. And it was really empowering. And it was so interesting that, I posted in the Facebook group that it was a very tearful moment. And it was a tearful moment when I left because there were two people, my immediate direct report and my HR director, that I really cared about. And I told them, guys, I'm sorry to do this to you. Like, I gotta go. I know it creates this situation for you. I'm grateful for everything you gave me. And it was really nice of them. They were like, well, thank you so much. Like, we understand that, you have this opportunity, and it does suck that you're leaving because, we thought that things were going to go differently and you were going to keep building our business basically. And it was just beautiful. It wasn't like angry or like, screw you, I'm out, mic drop, I'm out. It was just a beautiful transition into a beautiful life.
Yeah, that's awesome,
Yeah.
man. Like, was your heart racing though when you went into the office to tell them?
So, yes, more
Because
so,
my
honestly.
heart was racing when I still remember like it was yesterday when I had to do that, even though there was like no reason to be that nervous, but it was just like one of those things. It's like thrilling.
Well, I'll tell you that it was the moment before I walked into my direct boss's office, my heart was pounding. Like, it was like, boom, 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 boom. But I sat down at his desk and I knew that I had buttoned down some stuff as far as some deals and jobs and things of that nature. But I also knew that I needed to talk to him about some things like coming up and stuff like that, so that it was a smooth transition. Again, I honestly, for a time when I knew that I was going to happen, because I set up my lead gen well in advance so that the phone started ringing before I left. And I had like it wasn't a total, it was a nice hybrid. It wasn't a total like burn the ships leap of
Right.
faith, but it also wasn't like I have money coming in. But I've literally been doing this since the 28th, and I have doubled my income in 2 weeks of what I would have made in a salary.
Wow.
I've doubled. I've doubled it because it like snowballed. Once I was like full time and I started devoting to this, because I had leads I was like slowly replying to, because I still had to work and I didn't want to like, I wanted to have integrity. I wanted to
Yeah.
have integrity. I wanted to be like, you know what? I'm not, if I'm at work, I'm at work. But I also was like, I have these leads coming in. But once I was able to devote it, literally I made a week's paycheck in a day.
That's
Day
awesome.
one. Day
Wow.
one, just like, well, I'm good to go. Like, all I have to do this is 4 times a month, and I've matched my income.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, it was
Yeah.
so amazing. It was just like, that's well, and it hit me. I will tell you, and reliving that moment and getting back in them feels. When I sat in my car, I started crying, but it wasn't like sad. It was like I was so just like tears of joy, like just like, this is it. Like, this is the last job I'll ever work. Like, I will never have to go back to this ever again. I can not only create money, but more importantly for me was time.
Yeah.
I will tell you, when I started JK, I was a professional magician, and I have been doing it for 13 years, and I decided I need to do something that these two hands don't have to show up for. If I get sick, I'm done. Like, if I'm, this was
Mm-hmm.
pre-COVID, and so COVID even more so, like, solidified that. So it was like a range of emotion, from heart pounding to, when I went in, my boss brought up some. It was a fun situation in this case. My boss brought up some issues. He's like, "Well, now there's a couple issues I wanted to talk to you about," and I was like, "Yeah, yeah." And at that moment, it kind of flipped my script. My heart stopped pounding, and I was like, "Yeah, let's talk about those, because after today, I'm not working. I'm not doing it. Like, it was one of those situations. Well, I will tell you honestly, like, I didn't give 2 weeks. I walked out one day because it was a sales position. And I was in management, and I had literally watched two of my reps give 2 weeks notice, and upper management said fire them. If they're there in sales, we don't want them to take customers and ruin deals. So go ahead and let them go. Let's have them finish out the day, but go ahead and tell them thank you so much. We don't need your 2 weeks. And I was like, well, turnabout is fair play in this case. So,
Awesome.
but instead of doing it abruptly or again like some sort of evil way, I was just like, hey, thank you so much for this opportunity. I told them honestly too. I said, guys, that me staying any other days is not going to help. I also told my boss honestly. I said, I'll answer your phone call if you call my personal cell and you like, hey, I just got one quick question, because I had already seen him do that with some other deals and things that we were working, to where he doesn't call unless he absolutely needs to. So I respect that. I haven't heard from him, which is fine. But it was like surreal. The level of emotions from heart pounding to like kind of like folding my arms, like, oh yeah, let's talk about that, situation that tomorrow I don't have to deal with, to like gangbusters money. Like it was just like the universe was like, yep, now that you're doing this full time, now I can really start to,
Yeah.
help you out. Ah,
Yeah. That's what's cool about lead gen too, is like you can do it on the side for a while with a
yeah,
full-time job, right? And then you
yeah,
built up enough income doing it on the side to where you felt confident to be able to walk away from your job, basically.
yeah. Well, the thing was, and I've heard this from other JKers, and in this case, it was something that happened so suddenly. So as far as I've talked to other people that got in around the same time I did that actually had success with it very quickly, and I had that sort of fear of like I don't want to do this wrong, I don't want to do this wrong, I don't do this wrong, and a lot of JKers talk about this that have been in a while. They talk about the fact that you'll do this and you'll do a lead gen, and I finally built my first lead gen for a friend, and it did really well. I had this phone ringing in 2 weeks off of one of my lesser keywords. I was like, this is awesome. My second one, same thing, a lesser keyword like a micro niche hit instantly. Now it wasn't gangbusters money, but it was like, okay, I did this. I did it. Then an opportunity came up. I'll tell you what business I was in. I was selling floors. I had to do the installs. I had to handle customer service issues. My phone was ringing off the hook. Well, I had two cell phones, personal and business, and a landline that I was answering all day. And the opportunity presented itself for me to sell just the product, just specific flooring. What I didn't realize was that by itself was a micro niche. So in that case, I was instantly getting leads competing against like people who spend stupid money on Google ads, because I don't sell everything and because I don't do installs. So when that the specific term is luxury vinyl flooring, that specific thing started getting hits. Then I used some strategies for like, some Facebook stuff that I've heard from, and it just snowballed, and it keeps going. I'm now in contact with people. Now I know that these deals will take a while. That's fine. Of buying instead of one, box of flooring or one pallet of flooring, because I've made a lot of connections with builders and installers. I now have people who are interested in getting my product in their retail location to the tune of truckloads at a time.
Wow.
Meaning, I don't have to store it, so I can drop my prices to next to nothing because the overhead is zero. I pay for the what I pay wholesale for the flooring plus freight, and that's it. And
That's awesome.
and I feel like that's the stuff I know about because I knew my business. This is arbitrage. This is a business that I was in. It's also honestly, and I'm sorry, you were like, I'm an interview, and I'm like, you don't have to. I'll
No,
just tell
you're
you.
good. Yeah, this is,
The other thing is like, it's so silly to me that I never thought to seek this out. Like, I already do this. If there can be a lead gen model for it, which wasn't a great leap, it wasn't like I was thinking like, well, I got to get a retail store and I got to do this. I have a warehouse, a forklift, and a website. That's all I need. My overhead
mhm.
is nothing. It's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what's kind of like your vision with this? You're gonna keep building it, scaling it. Like who would do the installs though? Like you would just
So
hire
the
out
thing is,
other contractors.
no. So the thing is, one of the things that I hated about this job for the past 2.5 years, the money was good, nice salary with bonuses when I hit it. The thing I hated about was installs. So basically, by happenstance, I double my income. I eliminated the one thing that I don't like. And I have such a simple process with a micro niche where it's just one product that's high quality. But here's how I'm going to scale it. Do you want to hear the whole plan?
Yeah.
So, this particular flooring distributor has had a terrible time with none other than their SEO. So, we have a sales meeting coming up in April, and I will have the ear of about 30 other distributors across the country.
Mm.
The plan is I found out that here's real dollars. I found out that they got solicited by someone, and the owner of the company told them, guys, we're going to do this because we want your websites to do well. So it's going to be $2,500 per month for each representative, and that's going to be part of what you have to pay, because we're basically independent contractors for this. And they were like, no way, that's expensive. That's outrageous. I can't do that. That's crazy. Well, guess what? I know what this niche is. I already have my backlinks. I literally can repeat my website with the same product. I don't have to change out product pictures or anything. I just go copy paste on snaps, copy paste, change out all the meta tags, everything I need to, everything we talk about in the training.
Mm-hmm.
And in April, I asked my friend, because they haven't set a date yet. I was like, is this in the beginning of April or the end of April? Because I need a whole month plus another whole month to show them the numbers that I'm generating. One, so I have proof of like, guys, this works. And I'll teach all the other strategies. So now I'm going to go in with a ridiculous offer. I'm going to go into that sales meeting and say, hey, guys, so it's going to be, I do this, and I'm happy to do it for you. It's going to be $2,500. They're going to go, we've heard this before. Oh, no. $2,500 just for the build out. You don't pay me anything else until I get your phone ringing. That's how confident I am about this.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I'm using my phone. Can you type in that in your calculator? If I just started with 10 of them at $2,500 a piece, let's just do that. So that's $25,000. And I've already talked to Donnie about this as far as timeline. He said, please give me 10 at a time. 30 at a time is a lot. And I said, that's fine. I'll do 10 at a time. So I'll make some sort of enticing offer where I'll be like, I'll throw in the, text forwarding that CallSling offers or whatever the case may be. Something that's like simple. If you're one of the first 10 to raise your hand and give me the money today when I do this presentation, then I'm going to get the other 10, and then the other 10. And then after I get them ranked, then I'm going to say, oh guys, it's not $2,500 a month. I'm going to start you off at, whatever a reasonable amount is, just $1,000. So now I go from doubling my income to literally multiplying it times 10.
Yeah. That's kind of that. Yeah, that's amazing. That's the power of specializing in a particular niche, right? Because you're going to become the go-to expert in this particular niche.
Yeah. Well, I've talked to other JKers who talk about it, that they are like, oh, I pretty much only do dentists, or I pretty much only do this. I'll take on occasion, if one of my friends has somebody, or, it happens to happen, but some of them specialize, cast a wide net. They get really good at one niche. The thing is, they don't even realize that it's a micro niche. They don't know that, like, because it's one specific product, that I can compete with the big boys in most cities. And the other thing is, they have some of them in rural areas that, like Dan used to talk about, it's going to be like boxing or fighting kindergartners, because those areas are going to be, their phone's going to be ringing within a month. The other guys, then I get to manage the money. That's the thing. When you have the money to leverage, the ideas that I have can happen easily and without fear of failure, because the cost to a profit ratio is so insane that it's a no-brainer. Yeah, sure, I'll throw some Google ad dollars at the people that are in big cities just to get their phone ringing, because I know once I get it ringing for 1 month, then I get that monthly residual income, and I can take that back into it until it gets actually ranked. And then I've got the rural ones that are instantly ringing, so they're instantly paying me $1,000 to $2,000 a month. And then it's all scalable. Every 2 years, every year, I go, hey guys, things are getting a little more expensive. I only need like a couple $100 a month, guys. I'm really doing this. I'm really trying to dial it in and get the cost cut, and then multiply it times 30. So now I'm making I give myself a raise every year of one client, then I get to scale my business and talk to Donnie and all the support team and go, build me sites and help me with backlinks and let me buy everything so I don't have to do anything but sell.
Right.
Then I get to scale up and call all my friends who have been in the business who are frustrated with their sales jobs and go, come work for me, bro. Come work for me, man. I'll guarantee you a small salary for however many months until you dial it in to make more than that. And then sky's the limit.
Sure.
I don't care how much money you want to make. Let's do this together. I was just like mind blown. But you know what? I will tell you, if I can make a book, can I make a book recommendation on this?
Sure.
This has helped my grind. And Dan talked about it from like day one. This is not like you come in and you're really smart and you go snap your fingers and stuff happens. But he always talks about if you'll just grind it out, just daily, imperfect actions, if that's the case, or just small steps daily. And it wasn't until I read the 6-Minute Miracle Morning that I started actually doing that. I didn't get bogged down in my brain of what if, oh, there's so many steps to this. What if I mess up one of them? I was just like, well, I'm going to do this.
I read the audiobook version of that also.
And then I'm going to do this. And then I'm going to do this. And then it leads to, all the self-help books talk about this. Rob Proctor specifically talks about this. When you make the decision to do it, everything that you need as far as the plan of action will begin to form and start to process. And literally, now that I think about it, it was like such a simple shift. One, from my mental thing to be like, I'm going to grind this out and I'm going to do these legions and I'm going to get these sites built and all that sort of stuff. Two, now my brain is swimming with ideas of how to scale this and how to make more money really fast too. It's not like this is going to take me 6 months. I literally have a sales meeting next month that I'm going in, knocking heads off and collecting 25 grand in my pocket. And then sky's the limit. I mean, after that, I can do whatever I want.
Sky's the limit.
I can hire some of my family and friends. I can bring them in. I can do anything. You whatever I want to do. I got the money to do it. I can do so without fear of any failure because I still have my actual business, the arbitrage going on. The other thing is, it does ebb and flow. People talk about when you open up a business, sometimes it will work you. With the lead gen, it's really up to you. But even with my business, it does ebb and flow where there will be people where I'll have I might have to work on Saturday. That's okay. I'm new to this business. I want to get my word out. That's cool. That's fine. But I had 2 days where I was just on my phone. I didn't have to log into a computer. I didn't have to sit at a desk. I was laying on my recliner working deals with the leads. Because I know my business, I was literally like, well, here's the price and here's the price. It's just amazing on top of amazing on top of amazing. And from leaving my job to actually getting that kind of money in my bank account to now, just in such a short period of time, I feel like I'm firing on all cylinders. Like all the worry and all the fear has now shifted to absolute excitement. I'm getting up earlier now than I did when I was working a job that required me to get up early.
I love it.
And I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
I'm waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning sometimes. I'm like, I'm going to get up and do this. I'm going to get up and do that. I'm going to take care of this. I'm going to take care of that. The other thing is, I'll tell you about the 6-Minute Miracle Morning. He talks about doing it for an hour. This morning, I did it for 2 hours because I was just in a zone where I wanted to focus on, the steps of that, which are to plan out your day. And I wanted to be meticulous about it. I wanted to make sure that I did everything that I wanted to do. I've been writing something. Here's the thing about this. My girlfriend, I talked to her about the 6-Minute Miracle Morning, and she's like, oh, I'm not getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning. She has a job now where she doesn't have to. But her previous job for 12 years, she got up at 5 o'clock in the morning because she had to. In this case, it's such a paradigm shift of I'm getting up this early because I want to, because I'm legitimately excited about my day. I'm excited about the possibilities that I have. I thought I had to wrap up with a customer. I was in a customer's home that wanted to buy some of my floors, and I was like, it's almost 4 o'clock. I got to wrap this up because I don't. She's important, and I don't want to treat her, unkindly. But we were kind of done. She was chatting me about her daughter and her granddaughters, stuff like that. But I was like, this is. I get to prioritize my day. I get to go. Hey, I gotta go. Like, I'm gonna
Yeah.
be interviewed today. I didn't tell her that, but just to be able to have the freedom and to be able to have like the freedom of the time to do what I want, but also the mental freedom to be able to build the business that I want, how I want,
Yeah.
you know?
It's very clear to me that like the process has like embedded into your being, and like you're like switched on and you're speaking with absolute certainty and confidence. And
Yeah,
that just goes to show the power of learning a lead generation skill, because like we can operate with so much confidence because we know how to get customers at the end of the day, right? Like
yeah,
it's like the endless possibilities when you have that skill set of being able to generate customers.
yeah, yeah. It's endless possibilities. Sky's the limit. You could literally, you know, I envision those people who maybe are like, I don't like sitting in front of a computer, I want to do this and all that good sort of stuff. That's awesome. I would definitely encourage you to take this business and do what you want to with it. If you want to open a restaurant, if you want to start your own dog walking service and be the best in the area, do it. Do it in such a manner that there is no other competition. That do it with the excellence that JK offers you as far as the training and the support, and do that. It can literally be whatever you want. You are the architect of your life. You are the creator of your own universe. And the other thing is, it it creates possibilities that I never even dreamed of. As far as now, let's talk about like the dream life. The dream life is for me is to buy small properties, actual physical properties, houses around the country near national parks. I love hiking. I love national parks. And to turn them into Airbnbs to make a little bit of money off of it. But really, I just want to have a place to stay where I can go. And instead of having to be like, well, I got to take off work and I got to do this and I got to do that, to be able to go, oh, well, I'm going to go here and work for a month. And, every weekend I'm going to be in Zion National Park. And then,
Yeah.
during the summer months, I'm going to build a small cabin in Denali,
Yeah.
Alaska. That's where I started. I was a magician performing for the cruise ships, not on the ship, but actually in the Denali area. And I had to do this with limited Wi-Fi to start. Some of the trainings were lagging and stuff like that. But that early stuff, I just ground it out and took notes and just. I remember. It's interesting in my journey. I remember this same feeling, only a little bit weaker then. And then the fear set in, and I was like, well, let me analyze, let me analysis paralysis this,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of, take it and think about it and plan it and replan it and replan it and replan it instead of doing it. And now I realize that that seed that was planted then, that excitement when I first did the training, is exponentially grown to where it's just like it's dream life. It's dream life level stuff. There's no other way to describe it. Like it's dream life level. People talk about, well, dream life, money, 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 money. I talked to a buddy of mine down in Florida, and I'm going to help him with his charter fishing site. He's like, yeah, you can help me with that and all that stuff, yada yada yada. But I asked him. Listen, I said, Easton, I don't know. I said, do you really want to fish and have to take these people out? I said, or do you want to have enough money to where you don't have to? And he was like, yeah, that sounds good. I would like to do that. And in this case, I literally can pass on my flooring business whenever I want. Once I get all my lead gen done, then I can go, guess what? This is really good money, but I'm going to walk away from it too, because it doesn't give me the ability to travel anytime I want. It doesn't give me the ability to have houses across the country. It doesn't give me the ability to do whatever I want, whenever I want, however I want. So
Yeah.
it's interesting to me that the thing I'm so excited about that finally freed me, I'm already ready to let it go for bigger and better things. The mental, the excitement and the brain function, and the fact that now I don't have to think, my brain is not bogged down with the BS of work, the BS of my job. Like, it was tough, it was scary, but there's like a threshold, there's like a veil that once you cross it, your brain just leaves all of it behind to a completely new reality. Basically, there's no other way
Wow.
to describe it. This is stuff that when I grew up as a poor kid in West Virginia, this owning a house was a pipe dream, much less owning houses and having freedom to travel and to do whatever I want. I mean, geez Louise.
Wow, that's
Ah,
amazing.
yeah.
I love that word, the veil, like crossing the veil. That's a really great way to explain that experience of like walking away from it's almost like a separate life, like unplugging from
Well,
the matrix almost.
think about a veil. It's very thin. It
Hmm.
doesn't take anything to walk through it. But I imagine it as sort of a false reality in front of me. Like, well, here's the veil. I got to keep grinding it out. If I just work harder and blah, 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 and so they'll promote me and hopefully make me a VP and blah, 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 blah.
Mm.
And it's right there, always in front of you. It just kind of keeps, you know, when you first start the training, maybe you can kind of see through the sheerness of the veil a little bit, like, oh, I can see glimpses of that life. But until you take those steps to walk through that veil, it's going to
Yeah.
continue to kind of fog your brain.
Hmm.
But then once you're through it, you realize like there's sunshine and rainbows and everything on the other side. There's a life that you know, there's, I would say, there's a difference between the life that I dreamed of and now the life that I never even knew that
Was
I could dream of.
possible. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
It's
almost
like,
like your brain what didn't even know what it didn't even know. It's like it's like a
yeah,
magic trick, right? Like
yes,
once you
it's
know the
like a
trick, it's
magic
like
trick.
you see it in a completely different way.
Yes, you see it a completely different way. And what's amazing to me is my brain. I have to like. I have part of the miracle morning is journaling, and I'm glad I do because I've honestly found that on the opposite of the spectrum, I will be distracted by that. Both not just dreaming up like, oh, it'd be nice when I live in this house, but really solid business ideas. I carry a journal with me because one, if I don't get it out, sometimes I will forget it and I'll be like, wait, what was that idea again? Like, let me write that down. The other thing is too, it's distracting. I'll be like, oh, I got to go back to, let me answer this request for a quote. So it's like it's a good distraction, not the bad distraction of work, not the distraction where you're like, oh God, like Steve's gonna call and he's gonna tell me about that job and like, oh my gosh, I'm dreading it. The other thing is, man, there's no fear. I remember thinking that, like, you may have to make that call, the sales call or whatever, and you're like, man, I've called this person 3 times, and like I know they're gonna say no again. And you kind of have to psych yourself up. I have to be careful when I'm talking to people about my business because I'm so excited. I have to be like, hey, just try to match their level, and you're excited, but it's
Yeah.
good. The other thing is the connections that I'm making beyond, like I always looked for opportunities for lead gen. Like, if I see a truck pass by, I'm gonna, maybe do some research and do my due diligence and find out if like, ooh, can this be a low hanging fruit? Let me find this out. For example, I saw an epoxy truck and I took it and stuff like that. And that's good. That's a great, I think strategy and way to do it. But now it's like I can literally like dream up whatever I want. I can, instead of trying to find, the other thing for me is there's a benevolence to it. Like the keys to the kingdom. If I see someone who is similar to me and they're struggling, I don't have to go in guns blazing and say it's $2,500 for the build out and $100,000 a month. I can say, listen, man, let's talk about partnering up. I can't do this for free. It does cost me money, but what's something for you? And if it's something where I'm only making a couple $100 a month, but I'm helping someone grow their business, and then I scale it for them, and they are immensely happy, then that's a beautiful thing too. Like I can literally make this on an individual basis, whatever I want it to be. Whether I want to be a little bit benevolent, I would never give away anything for free. That adds no value. But literally, the dog walker or the installer that I meet, that's like, man, I would love to have more work. I love to do this full time. I work for a company, plus I try to do side jobs. Hey, man, let me help you out. Let's let's
Yeah.
let's have lunch. Let me buy you lunch. I just actually did that with a builder that's in the same boat. So now I get to help them out in two ways. One, I'm hey, buy my flooring. I'll make you a good deal. Two, let me build a site for you. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about growing your business to the point where you. Well, the other thing is I can speak this language. Like when I was talking to him, I said, well, what if you built a life where you didn't have to go and put your hand to nail and put this hardwood floor down, and you could just go and bid these jobs, be home by 5 every evening, and spend time with your family. Your little girl's beautiful. What if I could help you do that?
Hmm.
Because I can also use my sales background. I can teach him, and I also have salesmen who know how to bid these jobs. So I can be like, let me bring in my guy, and let's work out a plan of action to where you don't even have to bid the jobs. You literally can just be a supervisor and just check the job and make sure the quality of work is good. And so now I can not only start talking the business side of things, let me show you what I can actually do. Here's real numbers. I can go on to some of the RFs and stuff and show, hey, other guys are doing this level. You can get there too. I can help you. But I can also talk about my experience and the life that I have as far as the freedom and helping that, because it's the same for everybody. You know, Not everyone wants just money, 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 money. They want that freedom to have time with their kids, that freedom to live the life that they want, that freedom to dream for their kids, to dream for their friends, to dream for their family, to be able to do whatever you want. You can
Yeah.
make money, you can be benevolent. Like, it's just absolutely amazing. Like,
Yeah.
it's just such a turnaround too. It's like instantaneously. Malcolm Gladwell talks about that the businesses reach a tipping point. I feel like mentally I reached a tipping point where, I was like, I got to do this. And then the universe said, okay, good. We've been waiting. It's like the universe is like, I'm waiting to bless you. I'm waiting to churn this up and make this amazing for you. You just got to take the steps. Like, just walk through the veil. Just walk
Yeah.
through the veil. Just walk to the other side. Just take that first step.
That
The
first
journey.
step though, why do you think like a lot of people don't take the first step? Because there is some fear with taking that leap of faith, isn't there? Like there is that catalyst to completely
Yeah,
shift your brain, shift your mindset,
yeah,
and that
yeah.
first step is kind of required, would you say?
Yeah, no, you definitely have to. So one, obviously an investment in JK. For me, that was easy. Like, I was like, yeah, I understand enough of this of what you're talking about that I know that Google is a powerhouse, and if I get ranked, then that makes sense, because if you work for any business that does well, they have to have some presence like that.
Yeah.
But for me, it was honestly, I will relate it subtly to ego. It wasn't as if I was like, well, if I don't, get a lead gen that, generates 1,000 calls a month or whatever. It was that fear of failure, that
Mm.
fear that, like, I would put something out and it wouldn't do well or based on expectations. The thing was that those were my self-imposed expectations. Those were my things, because, and they talk about in the training all the time, certain sites are going to rank fast for certain words. Certain sites are going to take a while. If you have a customer and you set honest expectations, they don't care. But the other thing is, with the lead gen model, if you're not doing SEO, find another client. And so it's just getting, again, also back to analysis paralysis. You're like, well, I gotta make sure everything is perfect before I start. I gotta make sure that everything's good before I go. And then, I don't know. That's something that maybe is for another interview, because I'm still parsing through some of that, because I'm so focused and happy that I really haven't thought about, like, why did I take so long to do this? Why did I take so long? Like, what really was it? There was that fear of embarrassment, I guess. Like, what if I do this and it doesn't work? If I do it for friends, it's really easy to get them on board, but if I do it for a stranger, it's worse. And
Mm.
what if they tell everyone? You create, I guess that's what it was. I just as my brain now is creating these really, what some people would consider extreme, you know dreams and extreme thoughts and extreme changes in my life for the better. My brain went down a darker path and created those extreme, negative thoughts, where it's like, well, what if I fail and they put it all over Google that I failed and I'm no good at this?
Hmm.
It's just silly. It's Now that I'm thinking about it, I was like, wow, my brain really went from like, oh,
Yeah.
be fearful, be fearful, be fearful, to dream big, dream bigger, dream bigger, dream bigger.
Right.
Yeah,
Like
that,
there's definitely a big, deep internal shift there, and it's
yes,
like you're pretty much a different person at this point.
yeah, yeah, a
You
totally
see
different
the
person.
world in a different way. You see more opportunities in your world. It's just I've went
Yes,
through a similar experience myself. So I know exactly what you're
was
talking
your
about.
experience as far as that transition? Specifically that. What was the notch of the dial where you went from like, wow, these lead gen things really work. Wow, I'm making some money off this. Okay, this is like a nice supplement to my income. Or maybe you were already in it where like I'm doing this full time, I'm stressed about it. I don't know what the story is, but what was that moment where you were like,
I mean,
I can create whatever I want, whatever life I want with this.
yeah, I mean, when I've generated my first lead and listened to the call sling and I could hear the call on the other end, and I'm like, that was a big turning point because it's like, oh, this works, right? Like I
Yes,
can repeat
yes,
that. Whatever I just did to generate that phone call, I know I can do it over and over and over again, and eventually
yeah.
be able to quit my job. So that was like my big dream, is to quit my job. And then I was able to, and then when I quit my job, that was another big turning point as well. I'm like, wow, I like, it's unbelievable how free you are throughout the day, how much time you have when you don't have to go to an office every day.
Well, so the other thing is, a couple people were like, "Oh, I tried to go into business for myself." Like, they're like slaves, man. Like very few, but a few people be like, I gotta kind of have a boss because I'm no good on my own. And that may be the case where you need accountability or you need a partner, or, husband, wife, or a spouse to your partner to help you out with that. But in my case, it was quite the opposite. I've literally worked 12-hour days doing this, not because I had to, but because I was so excited to do so. And because it was from the comfort of my own home, on my phone, in a chair, it doesn't even seem like work. It's like, oh, in most cases, it was like, oh, dang, I started at 9, it's already 9 o'clock. Well, I guess I'm done for the day, you
Yeah.
know? But then also the freedom to be able to like have lunch with my freaking girlfriend, man. Like it's the simple things. Like I'm not going out and blowing this cash. I'm saving it and being very cautious. Well, I'll tell you the other thing is, people think like when you get rich, you're gonna make it rain. It's kind of scary on the other end. I'm like, I gotta take care of this money. Like this is a lot of money. Like I was like, a bunch of people paid me in cash, like big orders, like 3 grand cash. And I was like, I need to get this to the bank as soon as possible. Like,
Yeah.
I've never had this much cash in my hand. I got to see what $10,000 cash looks like for the
Oh,
first time in my
wow.
life. Yep. I
That's a
was
lot of
like,
paper.
yep. I literally just asked my banker, please, could I do this? And they were like, just want to draw it out, and then they were like, you can't take a picture. I was like, no, 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 no. I just want to see it. Can I just see it?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, this is insane. This is
That's
just
awesome.
this is crazy. This month will be the biggest paycheck. This is the first month that I quit my job, and this is the biggest paycheck I've ever gotten in my life, and I'm just getting started.
This is
Like I
your
have so
first
many.
month. When was it that you left your job completely? Like a
So
month ago?
I put the Legion and some other marketing in place about just 2 weeks before. I was like, I told myself, if this goes well, I'm leaving the 28th of February. So this is
Okay.
literally, we're 9 days in, man. We're 9 days into this. We're nine
Wow.
days into it, and I have already doubled my income for the month, and I still have the rest of the month.
Wow.
We gotta do a follow-up interview so I can show you real numbers and be like, look at my effing bank account.
Killing
It's
it, man. That's
insane. It's
amazing.
insane. And it's raining today, so I did this one in-home thing. I offered. It's not something I offer on the website, but she was like, "Well, I don't know how much I need." I was like, "Well, I got my tools. It'll take me like 15 minutes to measure for you." And then it was interesting going into someone's home. They were very welcoming. Like the thing is, I'm so used to having someone breathing down my neck to be like high pressure sales. You got to make sales. You got to make sales. When you have the freedom, you don't have to. Like there is no pressure. There's no like no. I've had people on some of my when I give them a quote, they're like, I'll pay half that. I'm like, no, no, that's stupid. That's a dumb offer. Like if you're reasonable, I can negotiate. But to have that freedom to not have to answer to someone and be like, I'm sorry, I didn't kiss this person's butt and win them over because they were being a jerk to me. That's
Hmm.
up to me. Like now
Yeah.
granted, I'm gonna err on the side of caution and always be nice and be compassionate to those people. I feel
Yes.
for them. They have anger in their life, but I also don't have to deal with them anymore.
Yeah. When you have a
That's
lot of leads, you can be more selective of what jobs you pick up too, right? That's the power of
yeah,
lead generation. You
yeah,
more
yeah,
selective.
yeah. Well, the other thing is, that's something that's a subject on in the Facebook thread a lot, is firing your clients. If you have a client that's making a lot of money but they're hard to deal with, and they're like, well, you need to update the site and you need to do this, you need to change that, and I need this, and I need that, and I need this, and I need that. When you have multiple lines in the water and you know that, like, this is good money but I don't really need it, you can go, nah, I don't really want to deal with you. You're making me money but you're not giving me the freedom that I want. So sorry, Mr. or Mrs. Client, you're fired. Like, I'm going to go with someone else.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is, so, I've dealt with a lot of builders and installers because I sell floors. And the one that I met with last night to talk about their website was amazing. We had awesome dinner, great conversation, and it was just felt so free. Like, I don't have to get this. I could build this. I could go ahead and build a lead gen and start making phone calls and have it, bought up, or, have someone to take the leads easily. But
Yeah.
it's nice to have that extra freedom to be able to, have that moment with someone where you talk to them beyond just, me selling them some floors, and to be able to go, you know, let's go have some dinner, man. I feel like, some good vibes here. And then they are like, yeah, let's do this. What do we got to do to get the website stuff rolling? And there was no salesmanship. There was no, let me try to be slick and work the deal and tell you whatever, because I didn't have to.
Wow.
So it's like freedom on top of freedom on top of
Yeah.
freedom on top of freedom. It's still a grind as far as the build outs and all that sort of stuff. You got to put in the work there. But as far as the sales and everything like that, I get to pick my clients. I talked to a friend of mine, who, her husband tragically passed away at age 40. And I only met him briefly. She's a friend from high school, and she talked about this, and I was like, that's interesting. But now I'm thinking the same thing. She said, Steve, that was his name, built his tribe. I was like, what are you talking about? Well, he had a successful construction business, Adam, and she's got multiple trucks from it still, and a friend of theirs still runs it for her. He said, well, once he moved here, he built this place. They have a beautiful, it's in the country, but it's like a beautiful piece of property. They have a pond and like a hammocks everywhere and like the gazebos and all this good sort of stuff. And he said he moved his mom from North Carolina to Virginia. And then once he got her settled, he moved his brother just down the road, helped him build the house, helped him be close. He said Steve built his tribe. He got everyone here that he wanted to, living close by, so that he could, have them close and have them in his life. And that's the thing. Like, what situations do you have in your life, apart from money, apart from time, that you would like to change? Do you have family across the country that you would love to have move closer, but it's just so expensive? Well, what if you could help them put a down payment on a house and make it really easy for them? If you have, man, if you have like college kids and you're like, man, I don't see them enough, buy an RV and do this from the road. Like, this creates solutions to stuff that you didn't even realize were problems. And not that those are problems, but build your tribe and create the life that you want down to the T. Have
Yeah.
everything you want, not just like money, not just time. Have the people close that you want, and maybe the people away that you don't want. Yeah, JK money can afford a big fence if need be.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's Dan. That's what Dan has done. Like, he has a tribe in Las Vegas. Like, they're all
Yeah.
JK people there. So I go
Well,
there all the
so
time too. But
yeah, so when I started, I talked to Dan briefly. Actually, Dan was the one who, back in those days, Dan actually would do the final close and sign you up and stuff. So Dan, actually, I talked to him and I found out about his dad, and his dad was living with them in California. His parents were able to live in their house, I guess
yeah.
in the basement, or whatever the case may be. So you could do stuff like that. You can create your tribe and you bring your people in and create your life. Like,
Hmm.
yeah, be like Dan. Create your little compound, whatever, in this beautiful fortress, and bring all your friends in, whoever you want there, and have the freedom to do so you know, without limitations.
Yeah.
This is just starting. Everything is just starting. I know for a fact that my brain's gonna dream up something that I didn't even think of to think of.
Hmm. Well, I think a lot of JK students are going to watch this and find a great deal of motivation and inspiration from this, because your energy is just, you're beaming right now with so much like excitement and
Well,
confidence.
I'll tell you, it's just still been a span of emotions and stuff. Like I still find myself joyfully tearful, laughing. I don't remember what it was, but I've never had this before. I broke out in spontaneous laughter. I was just like, whatever. Oh, the best moment ever. The best moment ever. I got looks. I got two looks from people, both on the left side, the driver's side of my car, because I rolled down my window. And when I drove onto the highway, I had to navigate some stoplights. When I left my job, I yelled to the top of my lungs, I'm free! And two people were like, what's going on over there? And I was like, just waving at them. I was like smiling. I was like, hey, I'll tell you. The other thing is, man, I did this for the first time. I did not record it on YouTube video or anything, but I had amazing customer service, and I had kept some of the cash that I had gotten paid. And I tipped this. I apologize because I'll tell you, this is the other thing for me. I always tip servers very well. I'm not a stingy person in that regard, but I always am like, oh, well, if I'm getting to go order, like, like I'll give you a little bit, but it's, whatever. But I realize that there are times when those people, that's the other thing too. I realize more so now that I'm outside of my job, that like there's so much stress and there's so much stuff that it just fell off. Like instantly I felt like the weight was lifted. But in this case, and I'm saying this not to be braggy, but to talk more about the blessing that is to be able to do this. This guy went the extra mile. So I rent two. They're sort of mini warehouses. It's in a big storage place, but I've got the big ones. And the people at this place have been bending over backwards for me because I have one of the bigger units, or just because of my energy. I don't know what it is, but they have been like, what do you need? I had them have to redo a light and move some stuff around for me. I had to get power ran to one of them, and they were like so accommodating that I went to buy him lunch. And while I'm sitting there, I asked the guy, I was like, hey, can you label everything? And he meticulously labeled each side with the name of it on it. And I told him, it was such a beautiful moment. I got his name. I said, Christian, I said, I have a confession. I said, usually when I sit down at a restaurant, I'm always a pretty generous tipper. I said, but for people like you, I never do. And I said, I watched you running around, because he was waiting some tables, plus had orders coming in, plus I asked him to write labels, and he took time to do it. He made sure to put like extra barbecue sauce. It was a really nice barbecue place near our. And I told him, I said, Christian, I want to tell you that I owe you and all servers an apology. I'm normally a good tipper if I'm at a table and I saw how the service you're giving them, but for these to-go orders, sometimes I don't. And I said, so I want to give you this, and I gave him $100 bill. And that moment alone, like, was so amazing in such an amazing way to not have to think about like, well, if I do this, I got a budget for it, or I got to worry about it. And to see the smile on his face, it just solidified it even more, man. Like, it was just like, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to be able to do. Not with any sort of like, let me sell him a Legion. Let me, try to finagle this into business or whatever. Let me just be a blessing to people, and in a profound way, in a way that's another thing. That's some shit that like you see on YouTube where they're giving away $100 bills or whatever, that I never would have thought, like, I would have never imagined what it felt like to do it. And now I can experience stuff like that where I can be a blessing to people without wanting anything in return. It doesn't all have to be about Legion and how can I finagle this to my business. I can literally just have those profound moments. I tipped the donut. I bought some donuts for a construction company today and tipped the donut guy $20. He was like, "This is so generous. Thank you so much." I was like, "This was great. Thank you so much for putting this together for me. I know you guys work hard. I've worked restaurant work, so I really have a heart for them too.
Absolutely,
it's just
man.
Absolute every single way, in ways that I never thought even possible. We talk about all the ways. We talk about all the ways that you can generate money, all the ways that you can turn this in, from arbitrage to lead gen, hybrid deals, all that stuff. But really, I think we need to have like a separate group that just talks about that JK life, that JK hashtag that JK life, because
That
the
JK life.
that JK life is beyond anything that you will ever, ever, ever imagine. You will think of stuff that has nothing to do with lead gens, that you never thought possible in your life. You will think of stuff that had nothing to do with SEO that is absolutely going to change the way you view the world, the way you view the restaurant worker and the daily person. You will see their hurt, you will see their pain, you will realize that they're still on the other side of that veil, looking out, dreaming of that sunny world where anything is possible.
Wow. Very powerful.
Yeah.
That brings it full circle, honestly. It's
It really
amazing.
does, man. It brings it back to that person years ago that was struggling, working in restaurants, hustling for tips as a bartender, you know, having the mentality of, well, if I work hard with every customer, the good tippers will, average out with the bad tippers and stuff like that. And to just be able to, change the lives not only of those around you. I'll tell you what I'm most excited about. I will be, without sharing too much personal information, my sister has going through some tough times with addiction, and I only have one nephew. And I'm so excited. I'm so excited to snap him up and be able to take him on a cross-country road trip. He's never been out of the state of Virginia. And now I could take a full 2 weeks off this summer. And I told him about his graduation present. I told him, I said, where do you want to go? I said, I'll fly you anywhere you want. We can stay in a nice hotel. I said, or, because I've done this twice now in my life, I said, we can take a road trip if you want. And if we do that, I told him that we would do it on a budget. I said, we'll have to do it on a budget. We might have to camp a little bit. We're going to camp in awesome places. I am going to do that for that experience. But I'm dating myself. But I'm basically going to Rain Man him in Vegas. I'm going to take him to Vegas. He's only 18, so he can't get into a lot of places. But we can get into the suit shops, and I'm going to buy him a suit. And I'm just going to drop buckets of money on him and just turn his life around, because he has had to endure a lot this year. And I'm so excited to be able to do that for him and to be able to turn his life around and tell him, hey, man, finish your education. That is most important. But while you're doing that, why don't you do my due diligence, and I'll pay you for it handsomely. I'll tell him it's tied to his grades. You start dropping in grades, and I'll fire you. I will not hesitate. But I'm so excited to be able to bring him in and finally turn his life around in a big way at a very critical moment,
That's amazing.
Very critical moment in his life. So just everything from my personal life to those that I love and care about, to strangers like Christian at the barbecue restaurant, who we were talking about before I did that, how he was like, I have to work my second job today. Every time the weather is really nice, I always have to work both jobs. And that's what I told him when I handed it to him. I said, this may not get you outside, but I hope it brightens your day. And he had just a beaming smile on his face. It was so amazing. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yep.
Well, Adam, this has been a very, very powerful testimony of the power of the business model, JK, the training, Dan's coaching.
Yeah.
It really is a big blessing to be able to create this much value for other people's lives in the form of helping small business owners and having all this freedom. It impacts your life in so many levels.
Yeah. More so than you can imagine. Like that seems to be the common thread.
It's better than you even imagined it was gonna be.
I didn't know what I didn't know. I was dreaming I'm now dreaming dreams that I didn't know I could dream. I don't know how else to say it. Like,
wow, yeah.
Hashtag that JK life, man. That JK life. That's what it's about, man. Because that's just one. Like any one of the business models that JK offers can catch fire for you. But for me, just doing it led to the one key opportunity. And, it may not happen as quickly for you, but it will happen. It will. It will. Like whether you build, one at a time and eventually reach, that $250,000, $500,000, paycheck for a year, or you start building and 6 months in, someone offers you an opportunity that changes your life at that very moment, It all starts with one step of saying yes to yourself, yes to the opportunity, yes to the support, yes to, everything.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Do we know if we're doing live training this summer? Because I've always dreamed of going to that and obviously never had the money and the time and blah, 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 all that stuff. I'm really so stoked now to be able to shake Dan's hand. And honestly, I'm going to give him a big old bear hug. Get ready,
Yeah.
Dan. It's coming.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah.
and Tori too. Oh, that's what I said. I remember that, man. I remember when Tori left the law firm. That's how that was. I'm dating myself. That's how old I am. That was a cool moment too. To think that, like, Tori was a lawyer. Like, lawyers are like, man, lawyers, they're doing well for themselves. They're making good money. And she was
Hmm.
like, yeah, I'm walking away from that too. So really, that's the thing at any level. Even if you're a doctor, you know, JK's
Yep.
got opportunities for you that can create a life that you never imagined.
Amazing. Could not
Oh,
have said it better myself. Yeah, just take action, right? That would be the word of encouragement. Just
yes.
go
Step,
for it.
step, step. Well, the thing is, I also, the JK group did help because I'll tell you, I've started seeing a lot of names that I recognize from when I first got in, maybe the first year, that are in the same boat. That they're like, I got into this years ago, around the same time I did, and I didn't do anything with it, but now I'm back. And there's no judgment. There's no like, well, you're stupid for doing that. There's nothing but absolute 100% support. And I don't remember her name, but I've heard from other people who were like, oh, you too? Yep, me too. Like, for some strange reason, my brain just got stuck in that 9 to 5 mentality. And now I killed my job and I am walking on and moving on to futures that I didn't even imagine when I first got into this. And when I first got into this, I felt like I dreamed pretty big. I was like, man, this is going to be great. Like, I can take on whatever shows I want, not do certain shows as a magician and all this good sort of stuff. And now I'm planning a phenomenal cross country road trip. I am looking at tickets and going on a cruise to Alaska. Stuff that, like, well, maybe someday is now like today.
Today's the day.
Today's the day.
Today's the
Today's
day.
the day. Today's the day. Journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. A journey of a life of freedom begins with one stroke of the key,
Hmm.
one due diligence report at a time, one question on Facebook at a time,
Yeah.
one get support. That's the other thing too. I feel like that um I don't know. I feel like that there wasn't really a conscious fear of like, well, this might be a dumb question, but I feel like now maybe it was. But now I'm like, I'm not afraid to ask. Like, I'm making good money, so this is a dumb question. Oh well, I still got my money. But that's never, ever, ever, ever the case. The it's the stupidest thing ever to think that anyone on the JK site would say anything negative. But
Right.
yet that gets all mixed up in the fear, like, well, I don't want to bug them or I don't want
Mm.
to blah blah blah. I tell you, the support in this group is absolutely amazing, both online and live. I've had people who reach out and message me directly and talk about stuff and things like that, to where it's like, oh, we can talk about this off. We don't have to put all the comments and everything like that. So just all the way around, like, I don't know why anyone who was thinking about this wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't you? Like, there's just no reason, because it can be whatever you want it to be. Like, you can create the exact life. You can dial that life in. You can, get the time freedom, the financial freedom, and everything. It's but I can tell you, and this is really the buttoning down, kind of wrapping it up, that I was there, even after having seen the training. That's what I feel like. In my mind now, I haven't fully processed why. Why did I know the training? Why did I see my friends like Josiah Ryan be successful at this? And I was like, but still, maybe I won't be able to do it. You know, it doesn't make sense, but
Mm.
it's a
We have
it's a
some of these
real,
like illogical self-limiting beliefs from whatever our back past and whatnot, maybe.
yeah,
No.
yeah, self-limiting beliefs, wherever they come from, you know, and you have to, I think, take the steps in fear. And that's something else I've been reading about in some of my self-help books. It's not that the fear is going to go away. It still might crop up, you know. Because I'll tell you too, it squashed instantly. I did not give it voice, but there was like, but what if the economy crashes and like I stop selling floors? Well, guess what? When the economy crashes, that's when people need the help with their businesses even more so. And
Mhm.
at the type of time and minimal investment that it costs to get legions started, even if you have them built and done for you, it's next to nothing. Like
Mhm.
it's still a no-brainer. And so in that case, it's like that fear still was trying to creep in for some reason, but instantly got squashed. Like instantly was like, so if that happens, I still have all the tools, all the support. I remember early on, and this is something that we don't even talk about hardly anymore. I think it's still in the training, if I remember correctly. Things like Fiverr and stuff like that, where like, here's some quick money. Here's some things where you can generate. Just you got to pay your bills. Great, we got solutions for that. You want to build a life? We got solutions for that. Like, there's so many answers to any and all obstacles that could possibly come up.
Yeah.
It really is a no brainer, but for some reason, I mean, we're human. We're all human,
Yeah.
and we all have those moments. Because the other thing is, and I hope that the people who are listening, whether it be people who are part of the group who may be in the same boat who didn't take the advantage of it and did buy in, or the people that are on the fence, that these experiences are a shared experience, and don't be afraid to reach out and say, guys, I gotta be honest, like I'm a little scared about this because I've gotten in the middle of this lead gen, I've launched it, but now all of a sudden I'm like, why isn't it ranking, or why isn't it moving, or what should I do?
Mhm.
You'll find, yeah, hey, I was there. Hey, I understand. Like, yep, some of these you get a little, you start watching it like a hawk, or you obsess over it and you worry about it. But in my experience, on the opposite end of that spectrum, like I said, the first Legion I bought, I built, had the phone ringing in 2 weeks for a lesser keyword. It wasn't my top keyword, but can I tell you that? So you talked about that earlier. That was you were like, oh, the phone rang. That was awesome. For me, it was a surprise. I was like, is it a telemarketer? Is somebody calling to say something?
Yeah.
No, there's just your service. I was like, well, I didn't believe it. I was like, it's only been 2 weeks. How is this? I was like, did you call him back? Do you want me to call him back? I was like, I'll call him. I don't care. I'll talk to him. I know enough about your business. Like, I'll do it. Like,
Yeah.
so that part was crazy too, as far as like, it's only been 2 weeks.
Right.
Um, Now my second one took a little while to get warmed up, and they made enough to spark that belief.
Right.
But then the opportunity came along
Yeah.
to just instantly wipe it away, and I don't know. It's been surreal. It's been an amazing 10 days. Is it the 10th or the 11th? It's been an amazing 10 days.
Wow.
10 days.
Yeah. I mean,
Uh-huh.
you are dropping a lot of knowledge bombs and insights. It's very, very clear. Like you are a JKer. I feel like I
Yeah,
can listen to you for hours.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's
It's
just been crazy. Like, well, listen, we gotta do this again. Actually, we can do this again after. We gotta do this again at like a milepost, like 100K. I don't know. Let's do it then. I'll have
yeah.
100K before the end of the year, so that's
That's what I was
easy.
gonna say. Please do
Um,
keep us
Something
updated
like that. Yeah,
on
yeah,
this
yeah, yeah.
journey. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that, where it's like, hey, let me show you. Like now, I'm looking at with five figures in my bank account that I'm not used to. Wait till it gets to six. Wait till I get to those 5 figures a month. Well, the other thing I was thinking about, man, like one of the things that they used to do more so was pull back in the guys that are making that kind of money and interview them and stuff like that. Like, maybe we need more of that for interviews. Like, okay, tell us where you started, and now tell us
Yeah.
like tell
I
us about that JK life now.
yeah, exactly. I think interviewing people that were able to just recently be able to quit their job is pretty awesome because you get the energy, that excitement, and it'd be very interesting to follow up with them maybe a year later. And because when you quit your job, it's amazing how much faster you can build this business. So
Yes, yes.
yeah, it's
Oh,
my business exploded once as soon as I was able to quit my job. So yeah, these would be good interviews to do like 6 months, a year
well,
later.
what does that JK life look like for you now? Like you're sitting here interviewing me. We've been talking for almost an hour, and
Yeah.
we have no worries. Like, well, that's fine. My business is still making money. My phone, I've gotten two two leads, two leads. I've gotten two leads since we've been talking. Oh, that's awesome. Like, yeah, I didn't even pay attention to it, but my phone's like beep, beep.
Yep.
Here's what we gotta figure out. Here's what we gotta figure out. I gotta figure out how to make that beep sound a cha-ching sound. So like
Yeah,
cha-ching,
exactly.
cha-ching, cha-ching.
Yeah. Money's coming in. Oh, it's
Oh,
great.
oh, that's awesome. That's the icing of the cake, you know. Like, hey, we're talking all this emotional stuff, and I want to help my people, and I gave $100 tip that I've never done before. Oh, and by the way, I got two leads while we're talking. Like, oh, I got that freedom, I got it like that. That JK life.
What a life, man. What a life. It's
Oh
amazing.
my gosh, this is the start of it. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. This is absolutely freaking amazing. Like in
Only 10
every
days in, man. You're gonna crush it. I'm very,
no,
very
I know
excited
I'm gonna crush it.
to
I'm so excited. So
for you.
definitely, like, I will let you know if I hit a milestone and I hit that 100K month. I'll be like, here's a screenshot of my bank account. I have never seen this money in a year. Well, I have seen that in a year when I was doing good years in sales. I was making that kind of money, but now that kind of when six figures seems like meh. You're like, oh, quarter mil. All right, now we're talking. That's that's reasonable. That's comfortable. I got a couple houses, around the national parks and stuff. But really that half mil mark is what I'm going for. And with so many opportunities, like just to do whatever I want, I'm curious to see where my brain goes with this, as far as like what else will I come up with when I have $100,000 to play with, and I can be like, oh yeah, I bought a McDonald's, or I bought a. I mean, I don't feel like I'm gonna go that extravagant, but I feel like, well, I will tell you, I have a heart for magicians, and there's someone who has come into my life who I really respect. I won't share too much, but he has been featured on some national television, which should make you good money, but he's been satisfied with like 65, 75K. And I'm just like, I want to help you, man. I want to help you like
Mhm.
any way that I can. I want to get, and what's funny is, I've told him about the success of my business. I kind of, because we've been friends now for a while, I kind of preempted, was like, bro, when I do this, it's going to be booming. And he's trying to build a theater and stuff like that. And I was like, well, maybe we can work out an investment situation. I can help you out with your business, like stuff like that. But the thing is, he's been talking to me about like how best to sell stuff and things of that nature, and he definitely takes my opinion more seriously. And so even without investing any money or spending any money, I'm able to now devote the time to help that person grow their business the way that they want, how they want, without, again, it's a similar situation as with being able to tip a server really well, to be
Yeah.
able to be like, hey man, I got all the time in the world, let me help you with this. No, I don't have to build you a website, I don't have to do a lead gen for you or anything like that. I just want to sit down with you, and I just want to help you build your business. I've
Yeah.
been successful, and I want to help you with your success in the way that you want to build your life. um those moments are worth more than any
Mm.
amount of money, to have that freedom of time and energy. It's really, I do feel definitely like high energy, like I'm just vibrating on a whole new frequency right now, just like
Mm.
the world is my oyster. And I feel like I'm putting it out there because I feel like I'm getting more smiles from people. It's literally like it changes your day to like an almost cartoonish level where you're like, everyone seems so happy around me. I guess it's because I'm happy. I'm just exuding happiness.
Mhm.
And that's the thing that you're like, man, was I depressed? Was something wrong with me? Nah, you were just on the other side of the veil. You were looking
Yeah.
through, you were seeing some glimpses of it. You had that sense that you needed to get out of the matrix,
Mm.
but until you're actually out, until you make that step to push through, you can get pulled back into that mentality,
Mm.
and that, I guess, is very true in what we've been talking about, as far as I saw across the veil. I got to poke my head through the veil and go, hell, wow, this is the training, this is the support, this is amazing. I don't know. This is well, I wanna stay back here for a while. I wanna sit on this and think about it. And I'll look at it and I'll think about it and I'll take some notes or whatever. And let me take some more notes and let me get a plan. Let me get a plan of action. Well, cross out the plan, circle the action, and start making steps.
Yeah. Well, Adam, I feel like with this interview, I feel like you're gonna change more people's lives. Like a lot of the JKers that's gonna watch this, they're gonna wake up and switch on
I
and
hope so.
finally make that change. So
I hope so. I hope that you'll put it out multiple ways. I hope that you'll put it to people who are on the other side of the veil completely, who haven't had the little glimpse of like what's to come. But I hope that it will encourage those people that, like me, were kind of had that analysis paralysis and were really afraid to take those steps to be able to do it, just that first step. And honestly, if you're watching this, I do have to devote time to my business, but I am so happy. Please reach out on my personal Facebook or in the JK group, tag me in something. I am happy to be your cheerleader and let you know what it's really like on the other side of that veil, and let you know, like, hey, just one more step, one more due diligence, just one more thing, one more time. Like, I would love that. I would love to be a part of someone's success story.
mm,
Well, I'm not the most knowledgeable of all the every little jot and tittle. I'm not a Greg, who's powerhouse at backlinks. But the mental game, I'm there, and I'm happy to spread that all over the place. Let's get that going. That JK life.
oh
Let's get
yeah,
you on that. Let's get you on that JK life. Let's get you on that JK life mentality so that you can start living out that JK life.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, amazing, bro. Let's
I
go.
know. We keep going around, around, around. We
Yeah,
gotta button this
yeah.
down. We're gonna button this down.
You got me
We're gonna button
fired
this
up,
down.
man.
We're gonna button this down by a huge thanks to Dan. A huge thanks to
Absolutely.
you and all the support of JK. Because the thing is, here's the opposite end. Even if you think about this and this video like inspires you and you still revert back and you go, I don't know, let me make a plan, let me make a plan, let me make a plan of action. Again, cross out that word plan, circle that word action, and take a step, one step.
Yep.
But even if you fall back again, JK will still be here.
Oh yeah.
Even if you go to first lead gen and it fails, and then you take another year and like, well, I got to think about it, that one failed, I don't know what I did wrong, JK will still be there.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you need to take that first step today.
Yep.
But even if you don't, JK will still be there.
That's it.
Every step of the way, every fall, every falter, every step of the way.
Yep. Yeah.
And that's a beautiful way to button that down.
100%. I mean, yeah, Adam, I very much appreciate your time today. There's a lot of
No,
nuggets of wisdom in here. This is a very powerful interview. I very much appreciate it.
thank you so much. I remember watching some of these with some of the early JKers, and I never thought that I would be one of them. Actually, I was like, well, I know I'm going to have some monochrome of success with this, but to be able to have a total transformation is just absolutely amazing. And the thing is, it happened quickly and it didn't. It took me years to get out of my own way. But once I did, it happened so fast.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, literally, within a month, because I got the offer to sell floors on. I screenshotted the thing. It was January 26th. Was when I was like, how much do these cost? What is the deal? What do I need to get? Just a forklift and a storage unit, basically. Okay. My brain. That's when it started. That's when the switch flipped, and I was like,
Right.
I don't need to think about how to keep my job and how to keep my boss happy. I need to think about how to make this work and how I can do time. And that's where the miracle morning came in. 5 o'clock in the morning equals 3 hours. 3 hours every day that I had extra because I got up that early to be able to do this, to be able to build out the lead gen, to get it ranked enough to make my phone ring,
Mm-hmm.
and then some other Facebook marketing and stuff. And I did the marketplace stuff like that. And now I'm talking to you, and I got 2 leads. Let me see if I got any more. No, I don't think I got any more. But that's fine. 2 leads. It's like, man, this is my day now. But do I have to answer them if I wanted to? But
Yeah,
also
yeah.
take my time and do whatever I
That's it.
want. So thank you so much for this interview. Thank you so much for your time and all that your support with JK. And I just hope that this encourages, if it just encourages one person, then maybe that
100%.
person will be the domino effect to encourage someone else, someone else, and someone else. And
Yeah.
maybe there's some things that I said that do relate to, whatever's going on in whoever's life. But, if you're listening to this, you have a story too, and you have different dreams than I do, maybe that someone else might relate to. And that's the other side of it, as more people are successful, more people have more stories. I'm excited to share like ideas for that JK life. Like, hey, let's all, rent out an entire hotel or something really extravagant or whatever you want. Like, dream big because sky's the limit.
Oh yeah, sky's the limit.
Uh,
Well, Adam, thank you very much for your time today. And
Thank you
please
very
do
much.
keep us
Let me know when
posted
this
on your.
post. I don't know. Yeah. Oh yeah. Let's do a follow up one when I hit some milestone, $100,000, or I don't know, like, we'll do a road trip one. When I'm road tripping with my nephew, we'll be like,
Yeah.
all right, we're in Vegas now, making it rain. Look at this
Yep.
guy. He's
Yep.
with a suit, something like. I want to do one that does highlight the JK life, like some sort of something rather where I'm in Hawaii, I'm on flying business class to Japan or something like that. Some sort of
Absolutely.
follow up with that where it's real quick, but you just get like, yeah, that sounded good when he was talking about
We'll
it the
definitely
first
we'll
time.
definitely
It
do a
got even
follow up
better.
for sure.
I'm
Yeah.
so excited. Thanks so much. I gotta run. I gotta answer these leads.
All right. Get back to the money. Let's
Go
go.
back to the money.
All
Thanks.
right. Appreciate it, Adam.
Thank you so much.
Take care. Have a great day.